This podcast is sponsored by Rocket. The American dream of homeownership feels further and further out of reach. For many people, homeownership feels impossible. But Rocket is on a mission to help everyone get home. They've got a range of products and services designed to turn renters into owners, from lowering down payments to as little as 1% to helping turn your rent check into a forever home. Find out more at rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
This is the plaintiff, Michael Essner. He says he worked for the defendant at her pizza place, running errands and buying supplies for the pizza shop. He would pay for the supplies with cash or his credit card, and every time he turned his receipts in for reimbursement, she'd give him the royal runaround. He ended up quitting, is working for a competing place, and wants his $5,000 pronto. This is the defendant, Christy Edwards. She says the plaintiff worked for the man who previously owned the pizza shop, so she sort of inherited him. However, soon after, she found out he was eating her out of house and home. Couldn't trust him, and this guy's one big fat liar. He's nothing more than a disgruntled former employee, attempting to exact revenge with this frivolous lawsuit. She's accused of not paying the dough she owes.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
You see it, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
Welcome in.
Michael Essner?
Yes.
You are suing Christy Edwards and her pizza place for $5,000. You say you're actually out $6,295.26 in restaurant supplies that you say you paid for as an employee and she has failed to reimburse you for.
Yes.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one.
Okay. I worked with Andy, the old owner, for 6 years, and Andy sold the place. And 11/12, they came in and bought the place and started. And they asked me to buy some supplies at Restaurant Depot.
With your own money?
With my own money.
Why did you say yes?
Because I had the money and I thought they would pay me back.
Okay, and so did they pay you back?
No, they did not.
Okay, so then they ask you again to spend your money again when they haven't paid you back?
Yes.
Okay, and then why did you do it?
I wanted to keep my job.
So you fronted it again?
Yes.
And again, and again, and again,
Yes.
to the tune of $6,000?
Yes.
You don't even need the job. You take that $6,000, and for a couple weeks you find a better job where people don't ask you to front their expenses.
Well, I learned my lesson.
Really? What do you say happened? Your story's a little bit different.
It's very different. Yes, I bought the restaurant last year.
What kind of restaurant is this, a pizza joint?
Yes.
Okay.
Pizza, Italian, we have dishes also. And in the beginning, Mike was going and buying supplies, and we gave him a budget. He would come back saying, oh, I spent X amount over the budget. You have to pay me back. I'd say, okay, let's not keep doing this. Okay, but here's the money. At the end of the night, with the cash that I had from the register, I pay him back. And we have text messages to prove that.
Let me see the text messages. You keep pointing at him. You got him?
Yeah, he has
Okay. So go on. You can just stay there and we'll get it from me.
You all set? They're up.
Who is this gentleman?
This is my fiance and the co-owner of the restaurant.
And co-owner of the restaurant.
Yes.
Okay.
Mike would come back with the receipt.
Okay, go on.
Mike would come back with the receipt.
Fiance, as in you're getting married when?
We don't know yet. Maybe next year.
You got a ring on your finger?
Yes.
Oh, okay. He's your fiance.
So we would pay him back at the end of the night for whatever he went over. He comes to me after the holidays, the beginning of January, and says, okay, you guys owe me $1,300. And he claims he held the receipts from me. So, I don't have $1,300 in my pocket that night, not in cash. So I said, okay, I'm going to pay you back over time. I'll pay you extra because I can't pay you right now. I have the checks. that add up to the amount that I paid him, plus more because he had to wait for it, then he's fired.
Wait, what do you mean plus more?
So I paid him over the balance, you see, so like some interest since he had to wait for it.
So he continued to work for you, and then what?
He continued he told me about the $1,300 at the beginning of January. And then I found out he was hiding in my fridge eating desserts and things of this nature. So I fired him, and he continued to harass my fiance with text messages. Can I get my job back? You guys need to order this. You guys need to order that. While we don't even have him on staff, he's telling us things we need to do.
Can I start today? Yes or no? If no answer, see you at 11.
Exactly. So I was like, well, I guess, if you want him to come back and wash dishes, there's no one else and there's dishes dirty. So he came back. He only lasted a few more weeks though. And you'll see in the text messages, January 19th, he texted my fiance saying, if you just give me $1,000 now, I won't bother you anymore.
What's that $1,000 for?
This is him saying, if you guys just give me $1,000
so
now, I won't bother
according
you
to
for
you,
the rest.
when did he stop working there?
The first time he was fired, probably like January 11th, 12th, somewhere in that range. Then he was fired for maybe a week, and he came back for 3 weeks or so, and that was it.
There's a text from you. Come on up, please. There's a text from you on March 4th. I'm sorry, honey. Listen, I'm sure you're lovely, but my bailiff does not want, even if you were 4'2" as opposed to 6'2", he doesn't want anybody coming over. So you could just talk right from there.
Yeah,
all right.
sure.
On March 4th, he texts you, I'm at the pizza place to pick up check. And you text back, I forgot about it. I'm not coming in till later. If it's okay, I'll wait. Okay, and that's the last text. What happened on March 4th?
I showed up, and he was still there. He was there from like 11 a.m. or in the morning, and
Right.
he waited for me until I got there.
He really likes that place.
Yeah, he loves
Okay.
it. And I gave him a check that day, which he
Let me see the
cashed.
check, because I don't see a March
Here's
check.
all the checks.
Is there a March check? March 4th?
These are all dated February.
How would you pay him his salary?
I was paying him in cash just for washing the dishes in the evening, about $60 a day.
How would you get your salary? You wouldn't get your salary with there's no
They did
W-2
not
for
pay me
you.
cash.
You got
me
paid
check.
cash for your salary?
By check.
Okay. Let me see
Check.
the copies of all
Yeah.
the checks that you have.
Here you are. Your Honor, what would happen was he would literally go to the store and spend more than we told him, and then we just pay him back in cash. We had no idea he was going to try to sue us, and then that he was going to add like $4,000 to the amount that he claimed that we owe him.
Well, he originally claimed that you owed him what?
$1,300, and
That's what he
you
came
can
to us
read in
for.
the text where he says, "If you just give me the $1,000, I won't bother you anymore."
So you're saying that these checks covered
Were-
that money?
Yes.
But these checks don't total to the money that he was
It's-
claiming.
it's
They
even
total
more.
$1,740.
Okay. And what do you think he's going to say now when I hand him these? Can you
He'll
predict it?
probably say that was salary or something. I
That's
don't know.
right. That's what he's going to say.
That's
And do you
it.
know why he's going to say that? Because it looks like salary. They're round figures. They are not figures like I spent $211.47 more, and then you pay $211.47.
Because we were paying on a total balance.
Okay, so show me his paychecks.
We didn't
Oh,
pay
you're paying him illegally.
checks.
You're paying him cash under the table, so the tax man doesn't.
This was a
Well, he was just doing the dishes in the evening.
paycheck. Same.
The checks are all within 1 month, and some are only a
The
couple
checks
days
are
apart.
3 of the 5 checks that you've shown me are on a Monday.
Paychecks.
A lot of time we have a lot of cash on Monday from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Who's the gentleman with you? Is he a witness?
He's a witness. He's a witness. His name is Fred.
Come on up. What do you know?
Okay, I know that I've known Michael for 6 years, from the old owner to the new owners. Michael's a very honest guy. He's worked in that place, and he does love that place, okay? Michael came to me in January and asked to borrow money from me. He said, listen, they owe me a lot of money. I was buying food for them. They didn't reimburse me. I said, Michael, why did you keep on doing it? I didn't want to lose my job. He says he's got no place to live because of all the money he spent his life savings on.
That's ridiculous.
It is, yes, Your Honor, it is ridiculous, but that is Michael, okay? Michael himself is a very, very honest guy. It happened to accumulate in a month's time, and it just snowballed on him.
And I have used my credit card.
And he has voicemails,
Let
too.
me see. Let me hear the voicemails.
Okay, there's 3 of them. 2 from Paul and 1 from Calvin. This is Paul.
March 11th.
What's going on, Mike? I don't know what to do. Some sort of judgment? Call me and let me know what's going on.
Did you ever call?
No,
Why not?
because I was arranged to go to court at that time.
Oh, this lawsuit had already been filed?
Yeah, at the
When did you
small
file the
claims court
lawsuit?
in Nassau County.
So now we have a lawsuit filed against you and an employee calling him to say that you want to settle and there's a check.
I didn't even know anything until...
I doubt the employee would call him and say there's some kind of check here for you, something about a, what was the word, judgment?
Yes.
Okay?
I don't
Unless
know.
you had him call folks.
I don't know what that's about. If he wrote a check, I don't know. All the checks are signed by him. Most of the time, I didn't even deal with
Do you have a
paying
March
Mike.
check, yes or no?
We don't have a
No.
March check, no. And this guy's here because we kicked him out.
Excuse me?
You didn't kick
This
me out.
guy's here because I asked him to leave because he was using profanity in front of my other customers because
That's a total
carry.
lie.
Stop it! Hey! What do you think you're doing?
Nothing.
You think you're in the pizzeria?
No.
Go ahead.
See, he says, what's the deal with this place? Every time I come in here, there's no Pepsi in front of my customers. So I said, you know what? If this is how you act, you can leave. He only, in my opinion, he was only there to run back and report to the old owner because the two of these people are two of their best friends.
I have a question for you. Tell me how you explain your employee calling him and saying, we have a check for you. How do I send it to you?
Well, I would be the one that would call him, not an employee.
Is that your employee?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it is obvious that someone is in the background at the beginning of that, which is probably you, sounds like you, saying, well, hand me that phone again. I want to hear that message in my ear.
Sure.
If I may.
No,
After
you may not. Hand me the phone again.
I don't know what that's about.
The one on the very bottom, who's that?
That's Calvin. Christy uses Calvin's phone.
Hey, Mike, it's Christy. I have a question for you. So give me a call back when you can. Bye.
Hey, Mike, it's Christy. I have a question for you, so give me a call back when you can. Bye.
Thank you for calling. What's going on, kid? Give me a call when you get the message. Tell me I left money for you.
March 11th, Paul calls and says, somebody left some money for you. March 22nd. That's you talking about $1,000.
There's a check here for you. Someone sent a check and they left it here. Should I hold it? Should I mail it to forward it to your new address? What's going on, Mike? I don't know what to do. Some sort of judgment? Call me and let me know what's going on.
Explain this phone call.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Is it conceivable that a pizza guy would loan his employer $6,000?
I think $6,000 is a lot.
It is a lot. Is it conceivable?
I think it's doubtful.
Doubtful. Anybody think it's more than doubtful? Anybody?
I think it's unethical. Being in a business practice, I just don't believe that a person would just loan out that kind of money.
Okay.
Over a period.
We're all being so polite. Does anybody believe what this guy?
Absolutely not. He's conniving. He's money hungry. So definitely not.
Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Going inside the courtroom.
I don't know why Paul was called. I don't
Well,
even know
it's you
if
in the
that's
background
me.
talking about $1,000.
I don't remember this.
You're such a liar. Honest to God. I mean, it's one thing if you're having financial difficulties. It's another thing if you're just out and out lying. Then you
have
tell
other
me,
females
yes,
that-
I do have my employees fronting money.
We have other
It happened all the
females,
time,
Ron.
but we paid him. Then the evidence you show me of paying him are a series of checks, but I'm supposed to look at these, notice that 3 out of the 5 are multiples of 60, but not call them paychecks. See,
we
a
pay him in
legitimate
cash.
business would have like the W-2, they'd have the little, so you'd be able to prove what you're saying. But if you choose to do business like that because it's cheaper, you find yourself in a pickle, particularly when you can't prove that you paid the guy. But what really worries me is not this. I can put this to a side. How do you explain this phone call? How do you explain this phone call if you are not guilty of lying to me right now? Why would your employees say there's a check for him?
That's not her in the background. I can.
Why does your employee who works for you at your direction call him and say there's a check for him if you don't owe him any money?
That's not us, Your Honor. It's after the date that we've already been sued.
Why twice does Paul, who works for you, call him? Maybe you're just taking advantage of him because you think you can.
No.
Maybe
Your
that's
Honor.
what's happening. Because I don't understand how Paul calls twice in March to tell him there is money for him.
He doesn't say that it's even from us. He has stuff sent there all the time.
Yes.
I get packages.
Money, I have a check for you.
You would get
something
packages
about a
there
judgment.
sometime?
What was that? Something about a judgment.
I got the judgment, and as far as I know, Paul didn't know about it. After I got the judgment, I didn't write any checks for Mike.
It's you in the background talking about $1,000. Did they offer you $1,000, or did you ask to settle for $1,000?
At one time, I did ask to settle for $1,000.
How did this become $62.95.26?
With all the cash and the credit card I used, it totaled up $6,200.
No, that's not true. Because while you were working there, they were paying off some of it to you. In your original lawsuit, what'd you sue for? $1,300?
No, $5,000.
All this is Calvin.
Yep, it was for $5,000, and the lawsuit was filed 3/6. Where are you working now?
I work in another pizza place.
The one owned by the former owner of this one?
Yes. In Farmingdale. Now I'm a delivery guy over there.
All right, here's where we are, folks. You know, you've got a messy case. The idea that you fronted $6,200 but were willing to settle for $1,000 is kind of laughable to me. The idea that you were owed $1,300 and are willing to settle for $1,000 is less laughable. It really bothers me to think that you're blowing this up in order to make more money out of this. But it also bothers me if they are keeping money from you that belongs to you. You're right, he's got a motive to lie against you. But I've got a phone call from your manager twice saying,
Paul?
Who is it?
I'll tell you in a minute. Hello? Yeah, you'll need to call back. He can't come to the phone right now. Well, here's what's going to happen, folks, because it becomes messy when you start doing things to avoid the tax man and leave no paper trail. It becomes messy when you have no books. I don't know why you were talking about being worried about the books, because you have no books. It becomes messy when most of the checks are multiples of $60. It's all just really messy. But something isn't right about those two phone calls from Paul. I refuse to believe that other people that aren't Paul's employers are in the background coaching Paul about a judgment and $1,000 that's not you. I find in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. That's my judgment.
Well, here come the pizza defendants. What's your reaction to losing this case? To him.
You know, it's mind-boggling that he can even file a lawsuit on such BS. Yeah, he was never owed $5,000. It was $1,300, like we said, and we actually paid him that. So if we have to pay him another $1,300, at least it's not $5,000. You know, it is what it is.
Those calls from Paul looked a little strange in that.
Yeah, but the calls from Paul, I have to go talk to Paul because I know it wasn't her. We would call him. We call him. You know, he dealt with me all the time.
Obviously, I call him myself if I have something to tell him. Absolutely. There's a voicemail me calling.
If there was a check for him, I would tell Mike. I don't need Paul to call.
This guy loved your pizza place. Loved it.
Yeah, well, he didn't.
Is he welcome to have a slice?
Absolutely not. He wasn't a good representation of us.
Okay. All right, right down this way. All right, so come on in here. So you win your case. Congratulations on that. And step on in here and tell me how you're feeling as you come out of the courtroom here now.
Some justice was served.
Mm-hmm. Your witness did a nice job testifying for you. You owe him a debt of gratitude?
Yes, I do.
Buy him a slice, maybe?
Yes.
He happened to be a very good guy, and the money owed to him was all the money owed to him. He only got
Hey, why do you love that pizza place so much?
I was always raised to love the place I used to where you work.
Okay.
And that's the way I am.
All right, good
Can I
enough.
say one thing?
No, we're going to Harvey
Dave.
now. Harvey.
If you are having a legitimate labor dispute, many states have a state labor department where they will actually mediate some of these short of going to court, so you might want to check to see if you have one in your state. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This podcast is sponsored by Rocket. The American dream of homeownership feels further and further out of reach. For many people, homeownership feels impossible. But Rocket is on a mission to help everyone get home. They've got a range of products and services designed to turn renters into owners, from lowering down payments to as little as 1% to helping turn your rent check into a forever home. Find out more at rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
This is the plaintiff, Walter Dahlia. He says he purchased a leaf blower from the defendant, and the sneaky guy sold him one with a broken crankshaft. After repeated attempts to work things out with the defendant to pay for the repair, he's taking him to court to finally get the $600 he paid the louse for the hunk of junk blower. This is the defendant, Matthew Williams. He says the plaintiff came to his house, turned the blower on, ran it for a few minutes, and then bought it. A full month later, he calls complaining of a broken shaft and demands payment for repairs. How does he know how the guy handled the thing in the month he had it? All he knows is he sold him a good blower, and the man just needs to move on. He's accused of blowing it, but good.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says he bought a bum leaf blower from the defendant, but the defendant says the plaintiff tried it out and it was fine, and he didn't complain for a month. It's the case of your leaf blower doesn't blow, but you sure do.
Okay, Walter Dahlia, you are suing Matthew Williams for $600, the amount you paid for a leaf blower, which you bought on Craigslist from him, a used leaf blower that you bought on Craigslist from him, which you say is defective. Talk to me.
Well, Your Honor, on August 10th, I saw an ad for a leaf blower, for an 8-horsepower leaf blower that I was looking to replace. I had a similar model that I had for 18, 19 years. I contacted Mr. Williams, and we made arrangements for me to go see the leaf blower on Sunday.
Okay, how does this work? Just what happens? I go over leaves.
I'm going to come over and show you?
Yeah, come on over and show me.
It's basically just a big fan with an engine on wheels.
What does it do?
Right over on this side is where the air comes out and it blows the leaves. You just blow them off to the side.
It just blows.
It just blows.
It doesn't mulch. It doesn't do anything else. It's just like a big, heavy-duty blow your leaves onto your neighbor's yard.
Exactly.
Or make it the city's problem and blow them onto the street.
Oh, no, the town I live in, they come and they suck them up for us.
Okay. Go ahead and go back a second.
Sure.
So you see an advertisement in Craigslist. Do you have a copy of the advertisement?
Yes, I do.
May I see it? Okay. For sale, 2-year-old Little Wonder walk-behind leaf blower. Homeowner used, never used commercially. Starts on the first pull and runs great. Fall is not too far. Please contact for any more details. What's this thing cost new?
It costs about $1,400.
Yeah. All right, so you go over to see it and you test it out, right?
Yeah, on that Sunday, my wife and I, we drove to where Mr. Williams lived, and he took the leaf blower out of the garage. When I started it, no smoke came out of it, blue smoke. Usually when something sits for a while, if the seals are leaking, you would get a blue puff of smoke, and it didn't do that. It's not like a car where you drive it around the block. I mean, it was August, there's no leaves to blow.
So how long did you leave it on?
About 30 seconds.
Is that long enough?
That's long enough. I mean, the engine sounded fine.
Okay.
Again, there's not like a lot of accessories you can try to turn on and off.
Right.
Mr. Williams was asking $600. I didn't quibble about the price. Wrote him a check. He helped me put it into my truck.
So what's the day that you bought it?
I bought it on August 12th.
Okay.
September 5th was, I was on the week, vacation the week of September 3rd. And then September 5th, I was outside doing some chainsawing. And I figured, I'll tidy up the yard. Let me use the leaf blower. So I went in, took it out of the garage, and the front tire was flat. So I put it in my truck, and I took it down to the garage where I've been going for 20 years to get my car repaired. And we just resealed the tire. You just put this sealant on, you blow it up, and it was fine. And so Marcus said, no, let's start it up. So we started up, and he was just blowing the sand off the lot. And it started making a tinging sound.
What's a tinging sound?
A metal, like metal on metal. And so...
That's not a sound that it made in the 30 seconds that you were trying it out at his house?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So we brought it into the garage and we were inspecting it. So we took the front two covers off and we still couldn't figure out what was making the noise. So you see the shaft there, the center shaft there? There's a bolt on there. That's what holds the impeller on.
Yep.
Now, if I may come around.
Yeah, come around and
This is 14.
Hold on.
let him, give him a chance to get there. Okay.
Okay, this is a 14-pound impeller, and you can see this would go on there. Now, you see the slot in the shaft, this slot right there?
Yes.
Actually, this bolt would come off to put
Right.
this on. Okay, you see the slot in the shaft there?
Yeah.
And
Right.
then there's this metal piece that would fit right in here. And then when you tighten the center bolt, this would actually rise up, and that's what keeps the impeller firm against the shaft.
Okay.
So what's wrong with the machine is this center shaft is cracked. And
Where? Just, can I see it with my naked eye, or is it?
See that crack right there?
No, hold on. You're talking about that right there? Just
Yes,
show it
ma'am.
to me here.
It's in there, but you.
Okay, flashlight, please. Yeah, we got one. So there is a tiny crack. I don't even know. I can't even feel it. I don't even feel it
No,
as a
you
bump.
don't.
So why would that cause this big problem? And why don't you just replace this part? What's the big deal?
It's a crack in the shaft. When you put the bolt in, and when you have that 14-pound impeller spinning around, it doesn't hold.
The bolt is in right now, right?
The bolt is in. What will happen is, here, let me show you one other thing, Judge. When, I have another
Wait,
picture.
I would have to lie down on the ground
Well, I got
and roll
another
it?
picture.
Okay. I mean, you know, I'm willing to take one for the team, but not like this.
So the problem doesn't surface until 3 weeks after he buys the leaf blower. Is this dude out of luck?
Yeah, I think it's crazy that he waits 3 weeks and then decides to complain about it. I think it's just...
What's the flaw there if it's 3 weeks later? What's the flaw?
I think it's exaggerated what he's saying.
Well, what's the flaw, though? What is the flaw if you wait 3 weeks before a complaint?
He could have broken it himself.
There you go. That's exactly right. I had a feeling you'd know that going inside the courtroom.
When the bolt is in and the impeller is on and that crack.
So why don't you just replace this piece if it has two problems on it? What's the big deal?
I was willing to do that.
Right.
The piece is approximately $270. That day in the garage, we looked up the pieces. And then there's seals and other items that would be required to fix it. And I put that in an email to Mr. Williams. And I even said...
Yeah, okay, but you bought a used piece of equipment, which apparently the first time you had a mechanic look at it, a month later, the mechanic says, oh, look, I can show you this, I can show you that, these are the problems. Why didn't you have a mechanic look at it beforehand?
You just have to go back.
Sure.
I know the answer. The answer is because you were buying it for $600, and it's a deal if you don't have to spend another $100 on a mechanic. Let me hear from you. What's your answer to all this stuff?
Well, like he said, he did come to my house. He looked over the blower. He started it up.
Did you ever have a problem with it?
Never.
So why were you selling it?
I was moving to a smaller house where I didn't need a commercial-sized blower anymore.
Right.
So I decided to sell it. He came over, took a look at it, started it, didn't have a problem with it, helped him load it on his truck, wrote me a check. He left.
So when you hear from him in September or whenever, once
I read through the email and
Did you have the email?
Yeah.
Can I see it?
Yep. There you are.
I took the leaf blower out today to use it for the first time. It was making a tinging sound. The crankshaft is cracked, which means that the motor will have to be replaced. I took a look at what it will cost. It's probably $400 to $500. What can we do about this situation? So what do you do?
Actually, he called me first from a block number I picked up.
Amateur.
Yeah, I know.
You're trying to avoid somebody. You do not pick up block numbers.
Well,
or other numbers, unknown numbers.
Spoke to him. He told me that the crankshaft was cracked. I told him that I was actually on vacation, that once I got back, that I would get back to him. I went and spoke with the man who I bought it from. I asked him if he's ever taken it apart, if he's ever even heard of a crankshaft cracking, what it would take to crack it. He said you would actually have to take it running at full speed and throw it off a truck for the thing to crack. When he started up in my house, it didn't make any noise. It ran perfectly. It made a sound.
So what did you do? Did you email him back?
I emailed him back.
May I see the email?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I don't mind when people call me sir when I'm in
sorry.
a position of authority on the bench. If you ever see me in the street in a dress and high heels, don't call me sir. All right. After some thought about what has happened on the blower, I've come to the decision that I cannot be held responsible for the blower after it left my house. It was a cash as is sale. There was no clinging noise when you started it up. Otherwise, I don't think you would have purchased it. I am sorry that this unfortunately has occurred. What say you to that?
When I did call him, I had him on speakerphone. My wife was in the room. And when I started saying it was starting to make a noise, that's when Mr. Williams said to me, oh, what you have to do is you have to tighten down the center bolt every so often. He's the one who told me. So to me, that means that he has done that previously in the past.
Tell me about the center bolt.
That's not what I said. What I said was I had talked to the person who knows the machines because I don't know the machine. I told my friend that Mr. Dahlia was saying that the thing was making a bunch of noise and it was loose. That's the only reason.
So he gave you the information, tighten the center bolt. That's what it sounds like.
And
then you pass that information
I pass it on to him.
All right, folks, here's what we have. You're buying something on Craigslist that is a used item. And that is, by default, an as-is sale. Whether he uses a term as-is, it is as-is. It's in your house for 3 weeks. I don't know what could have happened to it then. He doesn't know what could have happened to it then. And I'm not going to rule in your favor. I rule in favor of the defendant.
Thank you.
Well, when you buy something used on Craigslist as is, you should have had it looked at by a mechanic or something, because you know what as is means now.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you don't, for a purchase like that, you don't have a mechanic go look at it.
You just take a chance.
No, there is other evidence that it was damaged. You don't get that kind of grooves in the shaft. There's damage to the intake.
Still as is as is.
Well, if that,
you got yourself a bad blower there. What are you going to do with it?
Well,
get it fixed?
No, I already bought another new one.
All right.
You know, they say that.
You learned the as-is rule.
Well.
All right, head right down this way.
They say justice is blind, but they were blind today.
Right there. Okay, come on in here. You know the as-is rule?
I do.
Did you know it before you sold the thing?
I guess it is what it is. It's unfortunate that it happened to him, but I never had a problem with the blower. I wouldn't have sold it. I'm really not in the business of scamming people, so.
All right, Harvey, what do you got?
Real simple. An as-is sale can be undone if there's proof of fraud, but clearly no fraud here. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is the plaintiff, Jasmine Vega. She says she bought a van with 500,000 miles on it from the defendant, and the guy told him she could return it for a full refund if things didn't check out with her mechanic. Sure enough, the thing needed a ton of work, and when she told the defendant she wanted to return it and get her money back, he told her no. No? What a liar. She's suing for $2,315, the amount she's owed. This is the defendant, Thomas Webb. He says the woman drove around in the van for 6 days. There was nothing wrong with the thing when he sold it to her. And you can't just drive something around for 6 days and then bring it back, because a deal is a deal. He's not out to get anyone, never agreed to return her money, and owes nothing. He's accused of unloading a lemon.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff bought a 1995 van with 500,000 miles on it. In shock, it was a mess, and now the plaintiff can't get a refund. The defendant says she drove it for 6 days and it was fine. It's the case of Van Gogh. Please.
Okay.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Jasmine Vega, you are suing Thomas Webb for $2,315, $2,300 that you paid for a van that you want a full refund on, and $15 that he charged you for a title.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me what's going on.
I seen the van, a for sale sign on the van, and I told my boyfriend about it, and he contacted Mr. Webb, and Mr. Webb set up a date for we can see the van, and that was March 14th. And then on March 14th, we tried to go to the bank to withdraw the money so I can give him the money.
You haven't even seen the van yet. Why are you withdrawing?
No, I seen it, because it was down the block from my mom's house.
Did you drive it?
No. I didn't.
How do you know how it drives?
Like,
the thing is, how old? How old is this van?
1995, Your Honor.
1995.
He didn't let me drive it.
Man, that's older than all my kids.
Right.
What do you mean he didn't let you drive it?
Because he didn't want to let me drive it with his license plates on it.
I'm sorry. Did you tell her she couldn't test drive a car you were selling?
Absolutely not, Your Honor. What had happened was she said, well, I want to have my mechanic look at the van. I said, okay, that's fine. So she called someone, and they told her it was too late.
So the next day, she's supposed to show it to the mechanic. How?
Well, the next day, she actually purchased the van.
Why would you buy a car that you don't test drive?
I told him that I was going to take it to my mechanic, for my mechanic could take a look at it.
Why didn't you just do that without buying the car?
Because he wouldn't let me drive it with his license plates on it, and it was not even far from where we was going.
How many blocks away was it?
Like 5.
Oh, 5 blocks. I could push it that far. So why didn't, instead of buying it, why didn't you just have him drive to the mechanic with you in the passenger seat? I don't understand. So then you pay for the car and then you take it, and then what happens?
And then the mechanic told me.
And according to you, he says, oh, no problem, I'll refund your money if you don't like it tomorrow.
Yes, he
okay,
told
I have
me.
a question. Did you say, no problem, I'll refund your money after the sale if your mechanic doesn't like it?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
Okay, now we have a dispute. We have 2 people saying 2 different things.
Right.
Let's look at what's in writing. Does it say anything about you have 24 hours to have it checked out by a mechanic and get a full refund?
No.
Okay. Does it say anything about a refund?
He was there.
Does it say anything about a refund?
No.
Who's he?
He's my boyfriend.
Oh, well.
He was there at the time.
Yeah, I'll take his testimony, but I got to tell you, when this is kind of more important to me, what you guys have in writing, because at this point, you then change your mind about the car 6 days later.
But he never gave me the title for the vehicle.
Why didn't you have the title?
I never had the original title, Your Honor, because I never sent away for it. Because when I purchased the vehicle, I was assured by the person that it had no liens on it, which is primarily the reason for having a title. And once I got the title, and when I called Jasmine to obtain the title, I said, I have the title, Jasmine, come get it. I have a text message. She says, okay, but she never came to retrieve it.
Let me see the text messages.
Because he made me pay him additional money for the title.
Why did you charge her $15 for the stupid title? That's something you're supposed to hand over when you sell a car.
Well, the actual title was $20. But
I don't care if it was $500 or 5 cents. Why would you charge her for the title?
I've given her a discount with the price of the vehicle.
I don't care. Then you should charge her more and not charge her for the title. But you paid it.
Yeah.
You agreed to pay it and then you paid it.
Yeah.
All right. When did you tell him I want my money back?
Like 2 days later.
2 days later.
Yeah.
From buying the car.
Yeah.
And how did you tell him?
I called him and I called him and I called him and he wouldn't pick up. So I ended up going to his job.
So you go to his job and what happens?
And I tell him that I want my money back because the car keeps shutting off, it keeps shaking, and I can't even register the vehicle because I don't have a title for the vehicle. And he told me to come back on that Friday that he would return my money back. And when I went Friday, he didn't show up to work, so I ended up calling him on that Monday.
Did you tell her on Monday that you would give her money back on Friday?
Absolutely not, Your Honor. What had happened was Jasmine and her boyfriend came to my job on a Wednesday, which was 6 days after she purchased the vehicle. They just showed up unannounced at my job saying that they wanted their money back. I said, well, what's the problem? She says, well, the battery died. Then she tells me that the muffler fell off. And then Marlon chimes in, oh, when you stop, it keeps going. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, I've already taken off the plates. I've already canceled my insurance. There's no way in the world that I can even talk to you right now. I said, you have to come back on Friday. I can't even wrap my head around what you're telling me right now because I'm at work. And I at no point said I was giving her money back on Friday. I said, we can talk about it on Friday. But she's driving the vehicle.
So what happened on Friday?
She's driving the vehicle for 6 days.
She put a temporary
plate.
What part of don't talk to
She
him?
put a temporary plate on the vehicle. I have proof. I have the plate.
She put a what plate?
A temporary vehicle plate. She put a.
How did you get a temporary plate?
From a dealership.
But you're on the sly? Let me see.
She's driving my vehicle her vehicle at that point for 6 days and wants money back. I'm like, the car depreciates once the person drives off a lot. Once she drove away, I don't even know what's reasonable. If you rent the vehicle for a week, how much is that? I mean, I just didn't understand it at that point. I'm sorry. I just got excited. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
It's not that interesting.
Would you buy a van that has 500,000 miles on it?
No way.
Why not?
It's dead.
Well, but it does kind of putter along when you try it out.
He should have got a Carfax.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Going inside the courtroom.
According to you, after she got it, she was so excited, she called you to tell you how much her kids loved it.
She got inside the vehicle, her and her boyfriend. She said, oh, this is beautiful. My kids are going to love this. I said, how many children? She says, 8. He chimes in, I'm about to give her 1 more. I don't have nothing to do with that.
Do you really have 8 children?
I don't even have any kids, Your Honor.
You don't?
No.
0 kids?
0.
Really?
Did you mention 8 kids?
No.
Did you mention kids at all?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
Your Honor, I have...
Now, what am I supposed to do with the fact that there's a bill of sale that doesn't say anything about I have the right to return after 24? Because typically, you have to understand that by operation of law, when you buy a used car, it's as is. That means you bought it, you bought it. You don't get to bring it back This is why people test drive things and have mechanics inspect it before you buy it. So you're in the same position as everybody else who buys an as-is used car. And even if it doesn't say the words as is, it is as is. Right. If nothing else is said, that's what it is. But either way, where's the title? How much did you end up paying for it?
$2,300.
Did anybody ever check the Blue Book value?
No.
$3,600, Your Honor.
How many miles did this thing have?
126,000, Your Honor.
You had said in your complaint that it had 500,000 miles?
That's what I read on the meter when I got it.
He says no. He says it's...
I have vehicle...
Because you could see the picture that he took from the temporary plate. It says the mileage that I seen on the dashboard.
No, I can't. It doesn't. Did you want to say something? Yes. Come on up. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. When we met, he started the vehicle up from across the street. He never took us to the vehicle.
But I don't understand why you don't test drive a vehicle that you're buying.
Well, I don't have my license.
Okay, so you have your own reasons for buying vehicles without test driving them or having mechanics look at them, but those aren't good reasons. They have consequences. Yeah. In excellent condition, its value is $1,049. Where did you get $3,600 from?
From the Blue Book, Your Honor.
I'm looking at, show me yours.
I don't have it.
Oh, that's funny because the Blue Book I looked at doesn't have that. Now, I don't know if there were some extras in this that might make it worth that.
Absolutely.
Like what?
Well, it had a bed, a reclining electric bed. It also has DVD, TV, VCR. It has AM, FM. It has heat, air conditioning. It has everything. It has everything. It's fully loaded, and it's an immaculate. It's an immaculate vehicle.
Okay. Well, this printout doesn't take any of that into consideration. But you know, whatever it is, it's a price that you agreed upon. You should never buy a car. I'm in the middle of a sentence. You should never buy a car without checking online what the value of the car should be, so that you're an educated consumer. Unless you can prove that he gave you a warranty, you're in a pickle. I have that side saying, I never gave him warranty. I have this side saying, yeah, he did, but then I have the paper that says no such thing, that there's no warranty. Based on the circumstances of this case, I cannot order him to return your money. My verdict's for the defendant.
Well, the plaintiff comes out empty-handed because the judge can't reverse an as-is sale. Step in a little closer here and tell me, you realize that you made the mistakes by not getting it looked at or test driving and so on.
Right, it was my fault, so I get stuck with the lemon.
Okay, so what have you learned now?
I've learned to test drive a car before, I buy it, and I would look up the original book value for the car. All
good ideas. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to drive it, right?
No, I'm going to put a for sale sign on it. Okay. I don't want it.
All right, okay. All right, good luck. So you're going to tell us that you didn't know that you were unloading a vehicle that was not roadworthy when you got rid of it?
I wouldn't do that to anyone. I mean, that's my integrity at question, and I definitely wouldn't do that. It sounds more like buyer's remorse than anything else. I even have affidavits of my staff who actually witnessed her driving up and down and having a good time.
All right, okay.
She couldn't wait to drive away from me once she bought it.
Take it, Arvin.
Ironically, the older the car, the more important it is to get a warranty. It will really protect you.
This podcast is sponsored by Rocket. The American dream of homeownership feels further and further out of reach. For many people, homeownership feels impossible. But Rocket is on a mission to help everyone get home. They've got a range of products and services designed to turn renters into owners, from lowering down payments to as little as 1% to helping turn your rent check into a forever home. Find out more at Rocket.com. Rocket. Own the dream.